Previously on In Times Like These.
Announcing that he wasn't living already brought up painful memories, Pacho. Clearly, you didn't have a death certificate in your hands, which means you were negligent and ran the story without being 100% certain whether it was true or not. Most of all, our children wouldn't have been traumatized and Ulissa Torres would still be alive. I refuse to be blamed for the actions of my son. When I leave this door, I hope you both realize how big of a mistake it was not to accept my peace offering. Will you get Harley to drop her endorsement to make sure the past stays in the past? I'll have no other choice but to ask her to drop the endorsement. And if your mother stumbles across information about my family that she doesn't need to know, hold on. Are you now threatening my mother? I hope you have good news for me, Ben. I do. Since Finnegan Burke has been charged, my mother is making it her main mission to place him behind bars. Plus, Quinlan doesn't see any reason to investigate your family, which means that you're all finally in the clear. Don't you understand that I don't ever want to see you at the door? I won't be here long, Isabel. Tell me what you want and leave. Since Finnegan announced that he wasn't 6 feet under this whole time, I wanted to see how you were holding up with shocking news. Thanks for checking in on us. What about you two? Are y'all here cause Finnegan confronted y'all? Thank you for stopping by, ADA Grant. This isn't a friendly visit, Finnegan. Why wouldn't it be? I'm endorsing you? Not anymore, Harley. I want you to drop your endorsement. Here's the mistake you're making. You don't come into my establishment making demands, especially since Harley won't be dropping her endorsement for your campaign. Thank you for sharing the good news. I'm glad you're happy, Phiboon. That means I don't need to hear any more of your threats, especially since there's no evidence that my mother nor Quinlan could find to go against your family. Well, I am a woman of my word, Ben. Once again, I don't want this to be personal. As a mother, I'm just trying to do whatever it takes to protect my family. Only if your oldest son shared that same mindset. You didn't need to come to my family's hotel to figure out how I feel about the news of Finnegan Burke being alive. Of course, I know that you're upset by it, but I needed to check in on you since I remember how painful memories were brought up when we all thought he had passed away. And finding out that you blackmailed Terry, which led to her demon son's existence, opened up old wounds, Essador. I've already told you that I wish I had done things differently. Can you honestly look into my eyes and tell me that you think I'm just as bad as Finnegan and Keith? Yes, Finnegan did approach us the other day before he was arrested and charged. What did he want? According to him, Finnegan wanted to make peace. But you don't believe him? Absolutely not. Especially after everything he's done before he ended up in a coma. Does that mean you both feel like he's up to something? Especially now that he's facing prison time? I had no idea that you were even alive, Finnegan. That wasn't information which you needed to know. What do you mean? This information affects my whole campaign. Watch how you speak to her when you're in my presence, ADA Grant. She's the one who's endorsing you, not me. And she's connected to you, which means I can't continue to work with her. Harley agreed to endorse your campaign because you're a smart man. So let me explain something very simple to you. If you decide to distance yourself from Harley, then it will lead to unwanted consequences. What did you just say to me? Does it even matter? There's no point in repeating myself since you'll always take Wade's side no matter what's in front of you. Of course, I'll always take his side. Wade is my firstborn, and you still believe that he did something to Sean. Think about it, Phiboon. Think about it very hard. Don't you think it's very convenient that Sean had this mindset to hide his own body when he couldn't even hide Denny Clark's body? And you don't think he learned from his mistake when he took that girl's life? I'm sure he did, but instead of thinking with your heart, use your brain. When you leave my office, just remember that your second-born son could still be alive if he had taken the so-called proper precautions after ending Denny Clark's life. Drop your pathetic concern, Isidore, and get out of my sight. Not until you give me an answer. Do you want me to call security to throw you out of here? You know that I'd never lay a finger on you, Isabel. Do I? I've always known you to make questionable choices to get what you want. But after finding out that your choices led to Ulysses' demise, I realized that I never knew you at all. I'm still the same guy who made you smile, who made you laugh, and who made you feel safe all those years ago. When Ulysses' life was taken, I should have told you what I did to Terry. But I was afraid, Isabel. What were you so afraid of? This. You hating me and wanting nothing to do with me. Then it should be clear that I'll never love you, Isidore. Why can't you just leave me alone? Because nothing will ever stop me from loving you, Isabel. Nothing. I certainly wish we knew what Finnegan could possibly be planning. But he's fighting to stay free. Do y'all really think he'd risk doing something crazy? Most likely, he won't just outright cause chaos. But before Finnegan ended up in a coma, we knew him to be sneaky, and there's no doubt in my mind that he'll continue to be sneaky. But what does Finnegan even have to gain by making these schemes while he's getting ready to go to court? Finnegan is the sort of man who has a desire to always win. Are you threatening me? No one is threatening you, Owen. All we're trying to do is help you by warning you. Alright, if you no longer endorse me, then what's the worst that could happen to me? For starters, I doubt you'd be able to find someone else to endorse you. Pacho Torres already dropped his endorsement. I can only imagine what would happen if Harley stops endorsing your campaign. On top of that, I'm 100% certain that you'll lose voters who feel like Finnegan shouldn't go to prison for his son's crimes. Ask yourself this question, Owen. Are you truly willing to take that risk? Where have you been, Mom? I just came from meeting with Ben Russo. Why did you need to speak with him? He informed me that neither D.A. Russo nor Quinlan Franklin will be trying to take down the organization, especially after Finnegan Burke made his dramatic appearance the other day. That's great, but since D.A. Russo is focused on putting Finnegan Burke behind bars, that also means the police won't be putting their main efforts into looking for your brother's body. As if we need help from the police. Does that mean you'll be searching for Sean's body to provide him with a proper burial? You read his goodbye letter, Mom. He doesn't want us to find him, and I have to put my time and effort into making sure that the organization continues to run smoothly. Why, Isidore? Why? Don't you realize that you're only wasting your time hoping for something you'll never have? I've deceived you into signing over the majority of your Russo Jewelers shares and signed them over to Vivian. Here's my answer, Isabel. My love for you is unconditional. Sure, I've manipulated and lied to others for my own gain, but one thing I have never been dishonest about is my love for you. Having you in my life isn't some sort of challenge I'm trying to accomplish. Being in love with you is something that has become a part of me. The only time I'll stop loving you is the moment my heart stops beating. I understand that I hurt you in the worst way possible, and I know how much your family means to you, Isabel. But despite how unforgivable my actions are, I am certain that your love for me is not conditional either. That is not who you are, even if you don't want to admit it. From what I've heard about Finnegan, I knew he wasn't a moral man. But from what y'all are saying, he sounds unhinged, which is why it's vital that he loses this case and ends up in prison. You should have told me that Finnegan was still alive, Harley. But she didn't. Now you have a choice to make. And when you make that choice, 88 Grant, you need to accept what happens next.